Welcome back to another episode of the Crown and College Podcast, brought to you by the CSPN. You can check out our show and all our other wonderful shows on CSPN.us. Click that Keep Our Podcast Free tab so you won't have to pay to listen to me and Sarone sound like a Thanksgiving dinner. You can find Crown and Collars wherever you on our website and wherever you find good podcasts, and just type in Crown and Collars, and we should pop up and help your boys out. Give us reviews, share us, like us. Tell your auntie, um, tell your friend, tell your foe. Just spread the word. If you fuck with us, keep your boys uplifted and all that good shit, and help us get out here, man. I'm really trying to push the podcast this year so I can get these white folks money. Uh, but that's neither here nor there. So
True
help
tea,
out
true
your boys.
tea.
Help help out your boys be bad and bougie. I am your host, Jeremy, aka Black Dante, aka Confucius, aka Issa Durag, aka Fuck Kendu Isaacs. Um, and
Yo,
listen, all right. But hold on, we'll get into that. My usual co-host Dan, he's gonna join us. But he out here, he had to take care of some business. He out here getting checks, but he will be in the building shortly. But we are joined today by a wonderful, horrible human being.
wow.
Um, she's been in the Crown and College studio before. Someone
Fucking intro
I someone I fight with pretty much every day.
every day.
Um, Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. So it is, I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, but it's Sexy Lexi, aka Kurt Gotti, aka Bitch Where. No, I'm kidding. I
Listen,
am
that was a
so,
hell of an AKA. Listen. It used to be one of my favorite. Like, it's so many phrases that I use that I love. They rotate, but like, bitch, where that was one of my favorites. Nigga, you thought that's a good one. That is a good one. Let's see, you tried it. That is also what the our LGBT brethren and sister have given us some hella phrases,
they
and
have given us many
on top
gems.
of the fact that you should respect them and love them because they are human beings
I mean,
and
that's without question. You want to
without
be
question.
respected, so why can't
Right,
that go across the board? I don't
right,
understand. Yeah.
that is a given. They should be respected because they are human beings. You should also respect them because they have given us some of the most hilarious phrases
They really have.
to ever bless 140 characters.
I mean, honestly, truly,
Truly.
truly.
Heck, um, we got a
um,
lot of shit to talk
yeah,
about.
we do. Yeah, it's
We
like
got a
the
lot of shit to talk about today. Dan gonna hop in and pick up, get in where he fit in when he is available. Before we get into it, first of all, I would like to say, if you haven't listened to Mary J. Blige's new album, I suggest you do that
I
shit.
think you should and just you know get a journal or not even like. Here's what you should do: listen to her album, and if you're feeling some type of way, like if there's a man or a woman or a cat or a dog that has done you wrong,
Or Kurt
you need
Frost.
you need to write some of those lyrics that Mary was singing and send it to them just so they know how you really feel. Like if you feel like you didn't get closure, but you feel like you need to seal that envelope and just let bygones be bygones, by all means, listen to Mary's album, write down lyrics that really just resonate with you and send it to that fuck person that tried to rain on your parade. That's just what I would do.
Nigga, just saying all of Set Me Free. Nigga, all you got, like, saying Set Me Free, and like, that's the whole album there. Like, listen to me. Listen to me. I listened to that album. That is because I'm like stuck in like 90s, early 2000s with my music and stuff. I don't really.
That's awesome to know because in like late 70s, 80s and early 90s music.
Yes.
Like when I hear the stuff that's out today, when people are like, "Oh, have you heard that new Little Uzi?" And I was like, "Well, isn't that the same as Little Yachty? Like, what's the difference? Aren't
Right.
they?"
Listen.
But you know,
I
I,
don't shit on the Ute.
I don't either.
It's just not, I let the Ute be the Ute, and my old ass
Mr.
be
Gambini, what did you just say? No.
Huh?
I said, Mr. Gambini, what did you just say?
Right.
When you said the Utes.
Look, the Ute. You know what I mean? Like my ass be up here listening to fucking Bobby Caldwell and the Isley Brothers, and the Ute be listening to Lil Uzi and Lil Yachty, and it's fine. This is fine.
It's fine. It's totally fine. Like they are the voice of their generation. You know, like I'm not salty about them creating the music that they're creating because I'm all about everyone doing themselves, and you get money, you get in where you fit in. Like I'm all for that. You expressing yourself creatively. But I have to tell you, like I had a moment, I went to Coachella and Gucci Mane was there, so he brought out everybody. Sorry to like sidetrack, but he literally brought out everybody. So he brings out little Yachty and Migos. So I was like, okay, so Migos does Bad and Bougie, and it was a moment. I was living in that moment, and so they did this song, and I was like, okay, I like the beat. Then they started rapping the lyrics, and I was like, these niggas really talking about peekaboo? Like, play with that pussy like peekaboo? Like, is this really a song? Like, yeah.
Jesus. That's some shit you would have. Nah, you know what's bad? That's not even something you could say you would expect from Papoose. Like, Pap would have way more dignity than to say that shit. And we all know what Papoose said.
You know what? You're right. I can't even.
Like, think about it. Like, we know what Papoose said, but Papoose didn't say that. Let that.
That's true. That's true. Now you have me like wanting to look up some of the stuff that Papoose said.
That would be a whole other show. We did that the last time you were here.
We did. I was just like, why is this happening?
Right. But yeah,
But yes.
I'm here for the youth. You know, some of this shit just don't rock with me, and that's fine. You know, but you never go full Joe Budden.
No. Did you see that? Like, man, how?
Listen.
Beyond get off my lawn. That was
Joe Budden was up there yelling. Like, you ever go to the corner store and like you see the neighborhood crackhead and he just yelling because he done had too much of a lick and yelling at people as they go into the store. That was Joe Budden. That was Joe Budden. Like, Joe Budden was yelling like Joe Budden was yelling like every crackhead that's a dollar shy of getting sick.
Oh my God. Speaking of crackheads or, addicts, whatever. So the other day I was out and this guy was like, excuse me, but do you have 75 cents? And I was like,
nigga, that's happened to me before.
Excuse me. And that's not like the first time it happens, but it always like throws me for a loop because I'm like, could you just ask me for like $1 or like $5? But you asking me for like 75 cents. I once had someone ask me for like 36 cents and I was just like,
nigga, I'm gonna tell you the most hilarious shit ever that I've experienced was in a past relationship, and the dude, I guess it was a homeless guy. I'm not sure because I don't want to say he was a homeless guy because this nigga had on like polo. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, this motherfucker had on like a polo shirt. But like, we went to Walgreens and this nigga came up and specifically asked us for a nickel and a dime. And he said it just like that. He didn't say, that nigga said specifically, hey, that nigga said, hey, good evening. Y'all look like a wonderful couple. If you don't mind, could you spell nickel and a dime? Nigga, I was that blinking white man gif. I was like, what?
Like, did you just
Like the dichotomy of him breaking it down and asking for a nickel and a dime.
in a dime? Yeah. I was just like, what? Did
Probably
you just okay.
probably the most one of the most hilarious things I've ever fucking seen or heard in my goddamn life. That nigga was asking for a nickel and a dime.
And a dime.
We don't went on the tangent, but we
We
stand all
did.
that to say never go full Joe Budden.
Never. I feel like as older people know, regardless if you're like in your 60s or your 70s, as older people, you may not necessarily always agree with what the younger generation is doing. You probably did some fuck shit that the people who were here before you didn't agree with, but yet you're still here.
Right.
I mean, you're still flourishing. So let these kids cook. You know what I'm saying? Like
we got to move on, but it's like, nigga, this nigga Joe Budden was trying to give Lil Yachty, telling him that you don't know
advice like
life. Like Joe Budden didn't literally beat a fucking fetus out of his ex-girlfriend. Like, boy,
if you don't
boy, if you don't get with that goddamn Photoshop ass.
Not half, not some.
But anyway, we saying all that to say, normally we don't, rock with newer shit. But Mary J. Blige's new album is fucking flame. She is mad as fuck. And I don't blame her, because not only did this nigga Kendu scam,
like hella hard.
Not only did this nigga scam, this nigga also cheated, and also cheated allegedly with her damn protege. Nigga.
Yeah.
Boy.
Like, couldn't even take his shit to the next yard, kept it in the same backyard. Like, okay. Like, okay.
You gotta fight that. First of all, you gotta fight that. Like, if we are all married, Mary is all of our aunties. Like, I feel like just off principle, before even listening to the album, that just the fact that a nigga named Kendu had the audacity.
I mean, honestly.
To break Auntie's heart, he should get a fuck you from everybody just off that part alone. That the audacity of this nigga to break Auntie's heart, and this motherfucker is named Kendu.
Kendu.
Like, I feel like that. Like, that's one of them. Like, this is the kind of shit where it's like you find out your auntie heartbroken, like you gotta fight that nigga just off principle.
Off GP, like
just
you just gotta catch the fade.
Just
like,
off the
it's just on site.
Like off the principalities of the shit, you gotta fight this nigga.
Like, legit.
Yeah. But yeah, check out Mary J. Blige's new album, man. That shit is fucking flames. You got a favorite on it?
I don't, which is so odd, because I feel like it's a well put together project. So it's like, I feel like everything flows together. So it's kind of hard for me to pick like particular song over the other, because I'm just like, damn, like song like brings something different to the table that I thoroughly enjoy. You know what I mean? So it's like for me to be like, ooh, but I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to think. Like, if I mean, I know, but it's like if I had to, and like I said, like it's so well put together, and you can tell like she really put her all in all into this. So it's like, man, like
I hear the fuck you Kendu in every lyric on every goddamn song.
Like, legit. So it's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I had to, like, a favorite, it might be Set Me Free.
Yes. Yes, nigga, Set Me Free is
Yeah.
legit the whole ass album. Everything else is every
Yeah.
other song on the album is just like a remix to Set Me Free because she told Kendu, "Who the fuck you think I am, nigga?" That's the whole album there.
Like, I feel like that would have to be like my go-to. Like, if I had to, like, on a ledge, and they were like, the only way you can get off this ledge is if you were to pick like a song, I think I would pick, Set Me Free, because it was just,
She was mad.
she was mad as fuck.
She told that nigga to go to hell.
Caps. Oh, hey,
shit, we got Daniel.
She was like, "Who you finna try?"
What is going on, everybody? Coming to you live and direct from Portland traffic. It me, your boy Dan Chrism, aka your boy Dan Chrism, aka Dan Chrism, aka that Dan nigga, aka Blame Dan 2017, aka fuck it, Blame Dan forever.
You out there in Portland traffic, bro?
Dog, like traffic is an understatement, bro. Like we on city street parking lots,
bro.
Traffic is like,
because I saw you pop in the chat and I was like, is he talking? Because we can't hear him.
Like at all.
No. So I popped in and then like it kicked me right off. I think I drove through a dead spot. And then,
okay, we can hear you better now because we was like, because I was like, wait, did we get him and then lose him all at the same goddamn time?
That's pretty much what happened. All right, so what you niggas / motherfuckers talked about already?
Well, we ain't got into the show yet. We was just talking about how lit this Mary J. Blige album is. We were just about to go into the shit we were supposed to talk about.
All right, well, shit, set it off then.
Actually, it's perfect goddamn timing that you jumped in here because this your boy. So LeVar Ball's head ass.
I ain't falling for this. God damn it. Okay. All right.
So speaking of nigga / motherfuckers, so this nigga
a big baller brand.
You gotta change the name of that shit.
Just the name alone.
Let me be on record once more, because nobody seems to believe me when I say this. I'm cool with what he's doing. I don't always like how he does it. In other words, I don't like what the byproduct usually is. And chief amongst those byproducts that I can't fucking stand is this name, Big Baller Brand.
Yeah, it's like
again,
hella annoying.
That looks like some shit that like Sugar Slim designed in the baller block.
Okay. All right.
It does. It looks like brand, like even the word mark ain't bad, but like the Big Baller Brand, like the shirt that says all like the whole thing spelled out, it's fucking terrible.
Big Baller.
But
brand.
I will say this. The Lonzo sneakers don't look that bad. Now, you gotta remember, we're saying, I'm someone saying this, one of the most high-profile sneakers I ever bought was the Gary Paytons that zipped up.
Okay, so really, what you're trying to tell us is that, like, your opinion, like, we're taking it with a grain of salt.
I said that's the biggest, most high-profile. I also own the Nike Garnets that had the black and blue fade that the Florida Gators wore for a number of years. Obviously, I'm big on having like Adidas shell toes, so the classic joints, the Cortezes, the Air Max 90s, shit like that. Like I've been through all that.
I agree with you there.
I've had a couple pairs of Jordans. I haven't bought Jordans, but I've had Jordans in my life. My brother, when he this is why it would be good to have this brother, because like he would give me 13s when the 14s came out, and now it's like he would just want the 13s because Nike re-released them. And anyway, I say all that to say that design-wise, they're not that bad. They're not that great. I certainly would not pay $495 for them. You could take any of those digits out, the 4, the 9, or the 5, or whatever price you got left with. I probably wouldn't pay that either. But they're not that bad. Like this might be me building a little bit of a Takenstein here, but they're not that bad. They're not
Okay.
they're not dad sneakers. Can we set a baseline? They're not dad sneakers.
Okay, I will say this. They are the Church All-Star 11s. Just like step shoes are the sensible dad shoe 11s.
I don't know. See, because here's the thing. Jeremy. Matter of fact, Lexus, do you remember East Bay catalogs?
Yes.
So do you remember looking in the East Bay catalogs, and there were a lot of terrible sneakers that were in East Bay catalogs because Nike and Reebok and Adidas and even Fila, up until the point they stopped, were just pumping out so many sneakers. Figuring, shit, if we put out enough shit, somebody's gonna buy all of it, right? And so as a result of that, I've seen a lot of lousy sneakers in my time. And I'm talking years of this shit. Years like my brother clowning like sneakers with me, basically. Like he'd point something out because we'd have two catalogs, one for him, one for me. He'd point something out, and I'd go look at it, and we both just start dying laughing. So I've seen a lot of terrible sneakers. I played various iterations of NBA Live and NBA Street where you can design your own sneakers, and
that's exactly what his shoes look like.
And it was not that bad,
Yeah.
man. I'm telling you. So other than the Shaqs from Live 2004 that had an ugly ass yellow and purple fade on because he was still with the Lakers at the time, they're not as. Remember those And One sneakers that came in every fucking color under the sun?
Yes.
Those were bad.
Yes.
And it's funny that I mentioned those Gary Paytons that zipped up because I just drove past the dude rocking the pair of those. Clean as a whistle. Don't know where he got them from, but this is Oregon, so I guess that makes sense.
Like, okay, so it's subjective and whether they're bad or not. But
well, again, like what we gotta adjust for is they're clearly not Jordans. Like let's kick those out the equation.
Yeah, like that's
we generally agree that Jordans are like the best designed sneaker line, like as far as a series of all time. So if we take Jordans out of the equation, and again, because of the price point thing, I know that's affected a lot of people's minds, but LeVar is also selling a luxury item as much as he is selling a basketball sneaker. They look a lot like a couple iterations of Kobe's. And I point that out because like the graphite, like on the back of the shoe or whatever, like the graphite outsole or whatever on the heel, and then like the mesh in the upper and shit, like those are characteristics that were in like a couple different iterations of Kobe's. And if the argument is, well, shit, I ain't like the Kobe's either, then fine. But the Kobe's sold. They were popular. They moved. I think the LeBrons, they're a little bit popular. They're popular in a little bit of a different context because LeBron sneakers are a little bit bulkier just because of the specifications he built sneakers to. The Kyries have been pretty fresh. The KDs have been pretty fresh. The Currys. So, that's our baseline right there. Are they better than the Currys? Yes or no? One word.
No.
All right. So we found a baseline for these. They're not better than the Currys. That's my tagline for the Zoe 2s. Zoe 2, better than the Currys.
Here's the thing. Even if his shoes were better than the rest of them, look, Lonzo is probably gonna have an amazing career. That boy is talented, and honestly, in all of this shit, he is who I feel sorry for.
I agree with that.
Lonzo ain't good enough yet for his dad to be charging somebody goddamn mortgages for these goddamn church all-stars. I'm sorry. Nigga, Jordans don't even cost $500 fucking dollars. And they Jordans.
Not the standard Jordans.
Right, the standard Jordans. I mean, of course, you know, for the other ones, I mean, you got to probably fucking sell your house. But the point being, just the standard, you know, the standard, this shoe, I'm probably still paying too much for this shoe, but at least I can get it and probably pay one of my bills. Nigga.
That's fair.
They don't even cost that damn much. And this nigga is charging people $500 for these shoes and fucking $220 for some goddamn dad slides.
For the sour shoes, that's what pissed me off. Now you want to see me get angry about some shit LeVar Ball did? Nigga, Gucci slides don't actually cost $220. The
Gucci slides are like $195. Like,
right, like I don't think you have to go to charge people more for bigger sizes. Like his big size 17 throwing passes off the backboard to myself head ass ain't at least a 16 his goddamn self.
And then to people saying, "Hey, dog, this is kind of steep." To then basically get on Twitter, social media, and
he called everybody broke boys,
call everybody broke boys. Like, say what you want about Jordan, say what you want about Steph, say what you want about Bron. They ain't calling nobody broke boys for not being able to buy their shoes.
I think the only person who do that was Marbury because he sold the shoes for $15. You couldn't afford $15 shoes. Yeah, you might qualify as a broke boy.
Yeah, you might qualify as a broke boy if you paid it. Yeah. You can't buy $15 shoes. I mean,
Marbury is crazy enough to actually do that shit. That's the bigger fear I have there.
Yeah. I mean, But and then also double it down and saying the reason why Michael Jordan can't command $500 for his shoes is because he ain't Lonzo Ball. Boy,
no,
it's a pattern here that I'm going with this. It's a pattern here that I'm going with this, and it is this. And it's funny because I was talking to Rod about it before we recorded, and we were talking about it. And shout out to Rod and Karen and the Black Guy Who Tips. We were talking about it, and eventually, it wasn't nothing malicious. We were just talking shit about it. But it's getting to a point, and we talked about this the last time we talked about this nigga on the show. I don't think it's not going to hurt Lonzo, quote unquote, because his talent is going to warrant. I mean, he's still gonna get drafted. He's still gonna be able to play in the NBA because he's talented. But I think it would be a bit dishonest to say that his father's head ass antics won't hinder him, or at least stop him from getting the money that he probably deserves. Like, nigga, these motherfuckers, and when I say these motherfuckers, I'm talking about LeVar. This motherfucker, they went, nigga, Nike and them backed off because this motherfucker wanted co-partnership and co-created ownership of creative design. Motherfucker, you went to them. They didn't come to you. You don't have to this shit.
You know what that was? LeVar listened to that Master P interlude too much.
Say what, Dan? We didn't catch that.
He listened to that Master P interlude too much.
Yeah.
The Master was like, they offered me $10 million for my name, and I said, well, shit, they offered me $1 million for my name. It was like, man, if they offer me $1 million, this white man think I'm worth $1 million. I gotta be worth like 40 or 50 million, at least 10. So that's what LeVar is doing. LeVar is leveraging. Now, he's not wrong for the confidence he has in his son. I will never take that from him.
Neither will I.
I think. See, the problem in the black community is we don't encourage our sons. Let me not become that nigga. But
and that's another part of it. But I'll let you go ahead.
No, but yeah. So he's not wrong for like wanting to support his son. Like I said, that's the what is not what I have the problem with. It's the how. It's the yield that we get. And the yield sometimes is reactionary. It's what people say about him in response to what he does. But a lot of it is this is what it was going to be. Like when you say these things in these incendiary ways, when you say you can beat Jordan in the game one-on-one, people are going to look at you with a side eye. When you say that Steph Curry would have shot UCLA out of the March Madness tournament in the first weekend, people are going to look at you with a side eye because Steph Curry shot Davidson into the Elite Eight. Like, these aren't things you say. Like, they're already proven wrong before you say them. Like, the fact that you say them does not, like, give them credence or accuracy or anything. So, like, that...
And the fact that you believe them with all your heart does not make them true.
Right.
But and the other part about it that is annoying is that this nigga was the hill that niggas wanted to die on for the we don't support black business boat. Nigga. I saw niggas.
Loud and wrong niggas.
That any other goddamn time, they always saying pejoratively that people are too woke. They always saying pejoratively that people are too sensitive. They always saying pejoratively that people
Too
that
PC.
people to people are too BC. Basically going full white man. I saw niggas on the day the goddamn shoes released that go full white man when it's anything of substance being talked about. These motherfuckers went full yada over this nigga and these ugly ass goddamn shoes. They went full. You know that you ever seen Don't Be a Menace to Society while drinking your juice in the hood? Chris Spencer's character, the one that the hotel nigga that had the damn Chris Spencer, the one that had the hotel but say it was like I'm fucking white girls to get back at the white man. That was niggas going that was niggas defending LeVar Ball and them ugly ass goddamn shoes, which had a whole other annoying ass layer to it.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't like that at all. And like even like some of the comparisons I saw, like people comparing like Kendall and Kylie Jenner, and I'm like, that's not really all like congruous, man. Like that, no, like one and
yeah, like what are we doing right now?
Two don't touch right now, man. Like that, like these dots don't connect, and you just started the goddamn puzzle. Like what is going on?
In the words of our friend XD, niggas love a hypothetical. Niggas love a hypothetical. Shout out to Jaden XD podcast.
Yes.
But yeah, man, like we got more to talk about. But honestly, I hope that Lonzo kind of wins in spite of his dad's head assery. I mean, he's going to anyway because he's that talented. But I just hope that his dad's because his dad ain't gonna stop. And, you know,
right.
like, and that's his dad.
They got two more kids.
Like
it wasn't like
right.
just the one and done. Like we got a lot more of this down the pipe coming.
Like we got a lot more of this motherfucker. So but I just hope that it doesn't affect Lonzo in the long run. I hope it doesn't affect his kids and his other kids in the long run. And hey man, like I got it. At first he was funny, it was cute, he was like, haha, let's laugh at this nigga. I was the one.
And he threw that pass off the backboard to himself. That was the same.
Yeah, then what? Like I was one of the few that, well, not few, but I was one of the people that would fold my arms. Like, it ain't funny. You know, them ugly ass shoes were funny though. I'm sorry. But yeah,
those shoes are not at least better than Curry's. I'm getting the feeling you don't agree with me on that. They're better than the Curry's, fam. That's they better.
We'll agree to disagree though.
Hold on. You said they were better than the Currys. They made the tagline and everything. That's the sole purpose for that strap line. Better than the Currys. So too.
Right. That's the whole tagline. All right. Speaking of head assery, so the past weekend was a whole shitstorm, and we're not gonna talk about stuff that happened on the timeline because the parties involved aren't here, and we ain't here to talk, and we ain't here to bring somebody's name down. If you know what I'm talking about, if you feel how you feel, that's fine, and we're just gonna leave it at that. But
my name's
something.
Yo. My name's Paul, and that's between y'all.
Correct. But something head ass that was related to this got on the TL sometime last week. But so guys, apparently there is a campaign to end discrimination against men, which is called Mancrimination.
Oh, okay.
Sounds,
yeah, sure, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
So I ain't seen none of this, but yeah, okay, sure, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Because men have it so fucking hard. Yeah, totally. I don't understand why this didn't come about sooner. Wow.
All right.
Right. It is a It is a here's to all the men who have been victims of a society that tends to forget the struggles of males.
Such as
What?
I'm like, I want to hear it. Like, such as what? Like, not being paid enough.
My dear, I have it here.
Okay, all right.
All right. Let's see. All right. Woo! Shit. You could. Well, I would just like to say before I even started, before you ask, yes, they are. They are. These are all white dudes. But it's such.
Which is mind blowing. But please go right ahead.
All right. So these motherfuckers have memes. By the way, another tidbit, and I'm gonna tell XD this. Niggas love memes. So they have memes. They posted these in the magazine. The magazine is called Magcom. That is the title of the magazine. So they have memes and posters. And one poster says, "You want gender equality? Take it. I don't have to hold the door. I don't have to hold the bags. I don't have to give my seed. Hashtag don't mancrinate."
I want to know what no pussy having ass man came up with this bullshit. Like, dead ass. Like, really? Like,
what Twitter nigga nonsense is this?
Like, what the? Go ahead.
The next one. We don't. By the way, like the whole gist of these posters is like they have these dudes, and then they have like I want to say a bandage, or it's kind of like the Snapchat filter that gives you like a bandit mask over your face or something like that. It's something similar to that. And then they have that over their mouths, and then they have a tag, and then they have the three little bars that I read under that, and then hashtag don't mancrinate. All right, so here's the next one.
Okay.
We don't discriminate against a pair of boobs. Why do you? I almost don't want to go on.
What?
I almost don't want you to go on. I almost just want to kill this topic with fire because this is so incredibly head-splittingly stupid. Like, not that we're talking about it, because again, this is one of those things.
First of all, what person in their right mind is discriminating against boobs? Like, let's just end that right there. Like, people love boobs regardless whether they're big or small. Like, I feel like that's one thing that kind of brings people together is like titties and
I agree.
Like, come on.
And this is the ultimate way I can prove that, and that is with the following statement: small titties in your face are better than no titties in your face.
Correct.
Like,
correct. Me and Lexi were literally just talking about that pregame before we started about how wonderful titties are. We were literally just talking about that. But okay, it's the rest of the poster. Women only buses, women only train, women only queue. Hashtag don't mancrinate. Here's where we get good.
Like, you sure?
Here's,
I don't feel like this is setting up right now, sir. Like,
hold my beer, friend. Hold my beer. We're just getting started.
Well, hold my wig. Like, okay.
Hold my. All right. Here's the next one. It's a man's world. In all caps, bullshit. I don't get free drinks. I don't get free entry. I don't get sympathy. Hashtag don't mancrinate.
Nigga, because you get paid more. Like, I don't understand who came up with this. Like, this is so stupid.
Men's right. That's who came up with it. Men's activist Twitter. That's who came up with this shit.
I don't understand. Like, you're really mad because you didn't get a free drink. Like, you're mad because you had to pay to get in. I don't get it. Like, of all the things to be mad about, like, those are your strong points right there. Okay.
Oh, we still getting good. We still cooking with Crisco.
Oh, wait, so you haven't even, wow. So we haven't even seen the whole iceberg yet. You're telling me this is still just the tip?
We close to the tip of that motherfucker, but we ain't there yet. The next one. Even product discriminate. I'm gonna read that again before I read the rest of it. Even product discriminate. Short men don't have heels. Ugly men don't have makeup. Stupid men can't be blonde. Don't mancronate. Hashtag.
I'd argue stupid men can't.
Look, before, wait, pause, time out. Before y'all, I'm gonna let y'all go just a bit. But I love how in that one their defense of men is also misogyny. Could go.
Like,
Well, hey, what do we always say? How toxic masculinity affects everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like it affects these dumbasses too. I mean, here's the thing: if you're 5'1" and you want to be 5'5" tomorrow, like you're 5'1", so you got tiny feet. I'm sure you can find a pair of heels to elevate you to the height you.
Exactly. There's nothing stopping you.
The world ain't stopping you. And in fact, in 2017, the world would probably start you. Like,
yeah.
The world would get you in something cozy. You could get some what you call them boots? The God joints that got the platforms and shit on them with all the buckles and shit. You get something like that. I mean, they ain't Jordans, but I mean, you wasn't gonna be Jordan anyhow if you 5'2". So I mean, like, you gotta make a choice. I mean, women make the same choice. They rock their Jordans or they rock their, you know.
I mean,
but guys, there's more. Now we at the tip of the iceberg. Here's the coup de grace. The explanation of manism.
Oh, I'm not ready for this. My body is not ready. Hold on, let me turn the volume down.
at all.
Let me turn the volume down and turn it back up. Hold on. All right, done. Go ahead.
Manism. This is to remind us of the forgotten gender, who, regardless of the situation, are expected to be such gentlemen. When women talk about being put on the same pedestal as men, simultaneously there is an unsaid expectation of chivalry out of them. It is time we realize that they deserve a break from being all heroic and that they too suffer a different level of harassment out of innocence or otherwise. Gender inequality bugs them as much as it bugs women. So here's to all the men who have been victims of a society that tends to forget the struggles of males.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
My response, right?
Oh, the silence is your response?
What am I supposed to say? Like, I am dumbfounded right now. Like,
literally, like, I don't understand it. Like, I'm trying to wrap my mind around this whole thing about, like, men being discriminated against and
see,
the fact that they're, like, upset that they have to, you know, pay to get into a club or they don't get free drinks. It's like, do you know how much harassment sometimes comes with getting a free drink from a guy in the club? Because then it's like they feel like they're entitled to your time and attention for the rest of the night, all because they bought you a $10 cocktail. Like, I just okay. Yeah, I don't have the energy for that. I'm over that.
Now. In fairness, that article, this post was broke in 2015. It resurfaced this week, and honestly, it was perfect fucking timing for everything that's been going on. And it's always relevant because men really do feel like they are the most oppressed. It's straight men at that. Like, it is it's mind blowing. Honestly, it is.
Mhm.
It is fucking amazing. Like, never mind the fact that men get paid, even in 2017, that
Mhm.
men still get paid on average way more than women. Never
For the
mind the
same work.
never mind the fact that literally, um, out as a matter of fact, before, let me get this right. As a matter of fact, let me get this right. Never mind the fact that 1 in 3 women have been physically abused by an intimate partner. No matter that one in 5 women have been severely abused by an intimate partner. Never mind that 1 in 5 women have been stalked. Never mind the fact that women are more sexually assaulted than men. Never, and again, this is all not opinions. These are facts. These are statistical facts. Never mind the fact that uh, never mind the fact that when you look at who's in Congress and who's in office and who's in government making these laws, and I'm not even talking about just this election. I'm talking about throughout the long scope of history. When you look at who's been in power and who, at one point in time, women didn't have rights. You know, rape culture is still a thing, and it severely affects women. Not that men don't, which is not because I hate that shit. I hate when ever people bring up violence against women, people then try to bring up violence against men as like a one up or a counter, and people's go to usually is sexual assault. Listen, listen. Male victims of sexual assault and abuse are people. They are not. They are people that have suffered something that should not happen to them. Rape and assault is never cool, no matter who does it. But they are people. They are not your hyper. They are not your hypothetical chess match pawn, so you can win a debate. So you can win, quote unquote, in a debate over the internet. Try caring about male victims because they are people, and not just caring about them to try to win a woke Olympics on Twitter to go against the very real danger that women face as far as assault goes more than men. Now, with that said, despite all that shit that I just said, there are still men who think that legitimately think that they are the most oppressed, and it is mind-boggling to me. And it is especially mind-boggling coming from black men. It is fucking amazing how white niggas get. It is amazing.
Yeah.
It is fucking amazing. Um, like it is, cause not going into, again, we not here to name names and talk and be messy, but it's been a thing, especially on Twitter lately, where people talk about how men are trash. And I mean, fuck it, we black and we care about black shit and we interact and follow black people, so black Twitter, and the niggas, the men of black Twitter, for the most part, get highly offended. Highly offended at that generalization that men are trash. They get highly offended. And it is just amazing, because again, when you look at the long scope of history, how can you say men aren't? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
how can you
honestly.
look at history and how can you look at history and see the pathological violence that men have done towards women and towards other men over women? Like, how could you not look at that and say, well, damn, it seems like historically we have been very trash to women. because niggas can wax poetic about the history of racism and how white folks need to accept that historically they have been trash and they need to do better and they need to accept it and address it, and they are the ones that can fix racism, not black people, because they invented it. Niggas can wax poetic about that all day long till they blue in the face, and they are correct. But when it comes to us though, it's that intersection of being in the most oppressed group or one of the most oppressed groups and being black, but also sharing being in the most privileged group that is men, cishet men. Like it's that catch-22 and it's that hang up that niggas have. Because when it comes to misogyny and sexism, then we go, well, not all men. You know, you're being divisive. You know, you just bitter. You know, you just choose the wrong men. You know, just pick better men. You know what I mean? Like, how can you generalize an entire gender based off of a few? That don't sound like how white folks talk to us when we talk about race.
Mm-hmm.
None of that sounds similar. None of that sounds like, well, why are you making it about race?
Yeah.
You know, why are you trying to start a race war? You know, how can you blame an entire race over what white people in the past did? You know,
you're the real racist.
Right. You're a racist. You know, you're the real racist. You know, this is reverse racism. You know, you just hate white people. You know,
I have two black friends. I'm not a racist, okay?
Right. I have two black friends. I'm not a racist. You know, I don't beat my wife. You know, I don't beat my women friends. How can I possibly be trash? Meanwhile, I'm also holding up very misogynistic and sexist views and homophobic, transphobic, and all that shit. But I can't be trash. No, impossible. So we and I'm saying us, black men, straight black men, we don't sound like how white folks respond to us about race. We don't sound like that when we respond to women talking about sexism and all that shit. You can't tell me we don't sound the same. We sound the exact same, and it's something that needs to still be addressed and still be talked about. But if we keep it in a book, I'm tired. You know, I'm tired of seeing women. I'm tired of seeing black women constantly talking to brick walls and shit. I'm tired of seeing people talk about that humanity and how people that may look like you also play a part in that shit. Because this is another thing that niggas be doing. It's like they'll acknowledge that there is a history of violence against women, but then they'll pull the, you know, well, I didn't start it, so what you want me to do? You know, fair, valid. Black men didn't start at least in this country, you know, because there's a history of violence against women globally, you know, but as far as in this country in particular, there's a hint of truth to that. No, black men did not start patriarchy. Black men did not start sexism. Black men did not start misogyny in this country. We did not. However, if you still uphold that shit and you still deny that shit when it's brought up, and you start sounding like the oppressor when that shit is brought up, then you part of the problem too.
Lex?
I'm still here. Sorry.
Okay. No, I was inviting you to kind of chime in now that I think Jeremy's monologue's done anyway.
I definitely agree. I think what really gets under my skin is like have like an open dialogue with men. And when you're saying trash, I'm not saying all men are trash, but if you feel like it applies to you, then work on it. Like if it doesn't apply, let that shit fly. Like if you know in your everyday life that you are trying to help women out, trying to understand where we're coming from when we're voicing our opinions, then kudos to you. Like you're not part of that equation when we talk about men are trash. But if every time, you know, some woman tweets or says that a man is trash and you're getting offended, obviously some type of quality that is there, because it's like, why would you get offended? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, that's fine. But like, I know 99% of the time I'm not, but you catch me on a bad day, I might be one. So it's just like recognizing the problem and working on it. But it's easier to pass the buck than to address can. And I see that pretty much every day, you know, when you log on Twitter and you see like a woman say, well, you know, men are trash. And they'd be like, well, what would your dad think? Okay, like my dad told me men were trash too. So where do we go from here? Like, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, and I literally had that happen. Like, this guy was like, well, what would your dad think if he saw? I was like, but my dad is the same man who told me that men were trash. So it's not even like, you know, this is something that just came about. Like, this is something that I heard the man who helped create me, who went half on a baby with my mom, say this to me when I was younger. Like, men are trash. All they do is cause you heartbreak and all this other stuff. And I was like, well, damn, like, are you trying to tell me this is what you caused my mother? Like, I don't. So I'm just like, I don't understand, like, why people feel the need, especially Black men, to be so loud and wrong all the time. Like, it's okay to take criticism. It's okay to listen to voices of other people who actually experience this. Like, if I tell you, me walking down the street, and a guy says, oh, hey, beautiful, and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to ignore this guy, and then he calls me a bitch. You'll be like, well, all men don't do that. Okay, but just because you don't witness it or you don't experience it, that doesn't mean that it does not happen. And I think that's also another underlying issue, because it's like, men be like, well,
because you know, you don't. I'm pretty sure, you know. Well, I don't want to say pretty sure, but the point. My point is, we don't have. You don't have to have a racist in your face or know a racist to know that racism exists.
Right. Like, you don't have to be called a nigger every day to know that this is something that is a problem. And I think that's what bothers me, like, with most men, is because they're so quick to dismiss your feelings and your thoughts when it comes to things such as rape or, you know, street harassment, sexual harassment, anything of that nature. They're just like, well, I mean, I don't do it, so how am I? It doesn't matter whether or not you do it. It happens. Like, if more than 10 people can say, oh my God, like, I've totally experienced that, where a guy be like, oh, hey, beautiful, and you're like, hey, you keep it moving. And they're like, well, fuck you too, bitch. It's like, okay, just because you weren't there to see that or experience it doesn't mean that it's not a problem. Just like we know that world hunger is a problem. We know that there are people across this globe that are starving every day, trying to figure out where their next meal is coming from. But that doesn't mean that just because you don't see it or you don't have to figure out where your next meal is coming from, that it's not there. But, you know, niggas will be niggas. So
I have a statistic. According to the according to a study done about differences in crime and violent crimes, as recent as 2014, when the last time this was updated, more than 70% of arrests for violent crimes were men, and men accounted for 80. Hold on, wait, no. Okay, my bad. Read it right, but didn't read all of them. Sorry. 2014, among arrests, 73% were done by men. And violent crimes, men accounted for 80.4%. And 60, you might as well round up and say 63% of those crimes, men were arrested for property damage. If we look at the statistics, I already read the statistics for domestic partner violence. So, like, when you look at like who goes on just think about who usually goes on these like mass killing sprees where people shooting up movie theaters and shooting up malls and all this, that, and the third. Last time I've seen a woman mass serial killer. Not saying they don't exist, but again, I don't remember or recall the last time I've seen a woman mass murderer. Nigga, we can always, nigga, it just as recent as Dylan Roof. You know what I mean? Like, and that also had a bit of racial about that. Well, not a bit, but that also had racial undertones to it too. But the point being, he was still a male that committed mass murder.
So Dylan Roof, we had the dude in Orlando. You had the other one in California earlier, like last month. Like we don't go very long without an instance of these things. Like,
right? We don't like. There are other shows that I listen to with they cover stories about violence against women and stuff, and whether or not to bring awareness or to try to make bring awareness or even make gallows humor or like how trash men are. The point being, you could pretty much, if me and Dan wanted to do this, we could cover a story each and every fucking episode about some kind of violence against women. Honestly, we could do a show like that every damn day if we wanted to. That's just how much is happening. So
and here's not to cut you off, but here's the problem if we were to do such a show. The same men who make all these other trash ass arguments would be the same ones going off on not every man does this, and I just got to point out the bad the men do. But I wouldn't do that. So and it's like that's not the point. I mean, the illustration is precisely what you constantly fucking argue against, which is you don't do it. But to me, it sounds like you're kind of cratering, like you're kind of saying, well, if y'all keep talking about this, I will react, I will snap, I will go off. It's like, you just so defensive, and y'all like just on this mass level are just so defensive that it borders on, I don't know whether to call it like psychotic or unstable or what, but either way, it's not good. And again, it just goes to show. I mean, people talk about, oh well, men are always rational and women are always emotional. That's bullshit. Like this reaction is extremely emotional.
Extremely.
There's no other way to look at it. It's emotional as fuck.
And I wasn't born woke. Shut up, Dan.
Stay woke.
It's it's been
always woke. Never sleep.
I used to be like a not all man ass nigga myself, like that. That's the problem with privilege. Like, it doesn't allow you to see outside of yourself, and that's literally part of privilege. Like, you always do see yourself as the victim, and everybody else.
Wait. Let me wind the cord back a little bit on this, because as far as this discussion, this is fairly new on the annals of social history. Like, this is not something, as far as I can tell, it's been back and forth about for decades, if not centuries. But what I'm going for here is growth matters. Because like you said, I've always been pretty well adjusted on these issues because how I was raised or what have you. But at the same time, I wasn't by any means all the way polished, all the way around the edges. Like I was mentioning this in the group that I'm in on Facebook last week. I used to lament about, my unchose status in ways that I'm not proud of. But the point is, I grew from it, and not only did I grow from it, but I learned how to frame myself in ways that made me stand out in ways I wanted to stand out. It took work on my part, and the problem is these dudes, they're so entitled, like you were getting at there, they're so entitled, they want that to just be easy. I show up at the table and I have 5 good characteristics, everybody should be fawning over me. And it's no, that's not That's not it. That hasn't been it. That won't be it. Like,
Well, it's a societal thing. Not because y'all it's a societal thing. Like we're like men like we're taught that entitlement. You
yeah,
know what I mean? It's conditioned in us, or we're taught that we deserve a woman just because we're men. You know what I mean? And women are taught like men are going to choose you because you're a woman and you are the prey of man. Like that, even like in like because I said this week too. For all the people that like to say that everything is too woke and all that shit, like like we ain't come that far as a society. Like outside of like major cities and states, like and probably pockets in big cities or whatever, this country outside of those big cities is still very 1920s. We ain't come that
Very
far.
much so.
We haven't come that far. So even in 2017, like that shit is still conditioned in our society. You know, just like racism is still conditioned in our society, just like homophobia and transphobia is still conditioned and taught in our society. Like we have not come that far. So it's hard for men, you know, in general to see that shit because one, because I agree with you, Dan. Like it's that entitlement shit, but that entitlement is also taught, and it's also part of privilege. Like if you don't experience the shit, you ain't gonna see it. But the problem is, and why I feel like black women in this, like, you know, in like the black Twitter sphere, are so hard on black men, is because we should be able to see that shit because although we're men, we're also black, and we know what it's like feeling that foot on our necks because we're black. We should be able to recognize.
like, not to cut you off, but like we should be able to grow as a result of this. Like it doesn't
Right.
just be like 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 stimuli. Like we got one. It's right in front of us. It's easily accessible. Like, you know, for the most part, I don't want to say we all follow each other, but like we all know who the voices are. We all know who the preeminent voices are. We all know what the preeminent words of said voices are. And like, you know, as far as the whole, again, like entitlement, things like that, I'm gonna throw out 2 words. One of them is something no one ever fucking says. The first one is trophy wife, and the second one is trophy husband.
Bruh.
No one says trophy husband. Like that's stupid. Like, that is a condition of how different like men and women are, and that is okay. Like if anything, I'd like neither of those to be a thing. And I'm again not trying to sound like I don't like when black people say the word nigga too. Like I'm not trying to, like, it's not that at all. It's more like that's just such a stupid, antiquated concept that, like, you know, the way we value each other just as humans, you know, as far as like spouses and shit like that, is such that, you know, calling someone a trophy wife is very fucking predatory. Like that, it just sounds terrible.
You know what I mean? It's just like I hate to like be dismissive, but it's just like men are just babies. You know what I mean? Like it's like like absolute power corrupts absolutely. Like men have been in control of like society like since for fucking ever, and you know. Even you don't even have to go back in the annals of history. You can just go like as recent as like the 90s or whatever. You know, which like bitches ain't shit has been a slogan since for like ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's still dudes in 2017 that still say that shit. You know what I mean? Like, and let's not even get started on music. You know, rap, country, like basically any genre of music. Is, you know, has elements of misogyny and, you know, not giving women autonomy and you know, um, you know, using women, you know, seeing women as property. You know what I mean? Like you and Alexis said, like how we condition and raise our daughters, how like we like a lot of us don't want to have a daughter because which again we know other men be trash. We don't want to have a daughter because we don't want her to, you know, to go out here and be a whore or whatever, or which is weird.
Which to me that is so weird. Like
with our daughters with guns, which
Yeah,
don't get me
like that
wrong,
is so
is
weird to me.
socially
Like when
garbage. But continue, Alex.
it's so gross because it's just like, okay, like, so instead of addressing the issue, like you want to, I don't know, I guess make a mockery of it. It's weird to me. Like when I see guys on Twitter and in real life be like, well, I don't want her daughter because I don't want her, you know, every other nigga's dick. And it's like, why are you so worried about what your future daughter may or may not be doing with her vagina? Like,
Right.
I don't understand that. Like, that is so
Right, like
weird
that,
to me.
there's not a family member in my life who's
Like-
I'm giving half a fuck about. Like, this applies across the board. I don't care if they want to tell me about it. No, like
I don't understand
go call one
that.
of your
Like,
homeboys
there
or
was-
something, man. That's not what I'm here for.
Right. You know, like all this shit, like all the shit that's levied against women and saying that men are trash is like the third rail for men, like and specifically black men on black Twitter. It's just it's weird. It's honestly it's expected at this point, sadly, because I mean, I look.
What I want them to understand, like, I want them to get to the root of why women are saying men are trash. Like, you can start by listening to women. Like, that right there, I feel like would somewhat help the situation. Like, if you listen to women, because most of the time we're right about what we're saying. And it's just like, if you would take the time to actually listen to what a woman has to say as to why she feels like men are trash, then you would have a better understanding. Like, we're not out here just saying men are trash because men are trash. Like, we're legit saying it because, you know, through experiences, stuff we've had to deal with, you know, everyday encounters. It's just like, like, you know what I mean? Like, some woman, what was it? I don't know if it was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, literally just got shot and killed by her ex because she wanted to leave the relationship with him that she was in. She wanted to leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And he got mad.
Intimate partner violence.
He got mad. And, you know, it's like when men are like, oh, well, you know, you can just easily walk away. Nigga, do you know how terrifying it is to have someone follow you or become super aggressive the moment you say no? You can't just walk away. Like, you can't just be like, you know what, I'm going to run away, because in the back of your mind, you're thinking, okay, I know it's fight or flight, but it's like, really, what the fuck am I going to do? Because he's a man, he's probably going to overpower me. Like, I know I could kick him in the nuts, but that for this type of person isn't going to be enough. And I want men to really understand that, like, listen to women and listen to where we're coming from. Like, we're not just saying this just for GP. These are experiences that we've had to deal with. Like, I remember one time tweeting, like, how, I can't remember who started the conversation, but they were just like, share a time that you were street harassed. And
I think that's what CJ did recently.
Yeah. I think
I can't remember because I feel like it happened last year, and I feel like this is a conversation that happens literally like every 3 to 6 months, like in which, you know, people you know, share a moment in which you were street harassed or raped or what were you wearing and all that other stuff. And I will never forget one time I was in New York and I was walking to meet one of my friends, and this guy literally followed me for like 20 blocks. And I was just like, dear God, please send someone my way to like deter him, to keep him from following me. I had no idea like what to do, because it's like so many people are in their own world that they're not really worried about what's going on with you. And I'm just like, and this guy was like, well, why didn't you just like go and turn down a street or something and shake him? Nigga, like, I literally went every which way I could think of, and he was still behind me. And it wasn't until some random ass woman that was like walking out of a store, I just said, oh, hey, Sarah, like, I know you're running late, like, but I'm glad we met up. And she was like, yeah, I know. And like, we walked into a store together, and I was just like, oh my God, thank you so much for going along with like with what I was doing. And I was just like, if it was just that easy to walk away, I think women would do that all the time. But when you're in that situation, you're not thinking about walking away. Like, you're thinking about, how can I make it out of this situation alive? Because you really don't know what's on that man's mind, because we've seen it happen one too many times where a woman is killed, she is assaulted, anything of that nature, all because she didn't want to give some guy a minute of her time. So it's just like, stop being an asshole and thinking like, oh, well, because I haven't done it, it doesn't exist. No, it happens every day. And just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean that it's not a problem.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's like a pandemic. With people just in general, they seem to think, oh, well, I haven't experienced this, so therefore nobody has. All 7 billion
Yeah, like,
because I haven't. It's like, God, how fucking self-important are you? Will you fuck off already? Like, jeez.
Yeah, people.
but it's like, how like self-absorbed are you though? That's another thing. Like, how self-absorbed are you to think like, well, because I haven't experienced being harassed, that it's really not a problem. The fuck? Like, no.
It's
It
also
is a
because
problem.
I'm sorry, let's not cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's also because like the bar is so low for men. You know what I mean? Like it's like I said earlier.
It really fucking is. It's like, I hate those accounts on Twitter when they be like, oh, babe decided to hold my hand today. And it's like, I really want to know what type of men you've been dealing with, that the simple fact that he asked you how your day was and brought you something to eat is like relationship goals.
Right.
Because,
Yeah.
like
the bar is low. Like the bar for what a good man or a decent man is so fucking low. And it be the most obvious shit where it's like, you know, he doesn't hit women. Oh, he's woke. He gets it. It's like, no. Just because he doesn't hit women doesn't also mean he can't be sexist. And also, again, like I said earlier, he might be homophobic. He might be transphobic. He might vote Republican. You know, like the bar is just so damn low for us to be considered good, quote unquote, or woke, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's also a problem with it, coming from other dudes, because it's like, you know, it's like, well, me and my homeboys, you know, we don't hit women, you know, we don't call women bitches and hoes and shit. And it's like, okay, cool, but
That's
are
do
no
you
you
want a
also
cookie?
right? But are you also calling out dudes that do? See, that's the
Do
gag.
it?
That's the gag. That's the gag. It's like, okay, by the lower
all right,
bar.
Kiki Jeremy.
Hmm?
I said, all right, Kiki Jeremy. That's the gag.
The hilarious. Look, say what you want about Kiki. That shit is never gonna not. Say what you want.
That's the gag. The gag is.
The gag is like, okay, girl.
The gag is, shout it.
Hey, look. Hey.
I shouted the gag is though. You know what the gag is though?
Listen.
Hey.
But yeah, like that's the other part of it. Like, okay, you're jumping in front of this bullet saying that not all men are trash, which nobody ever says. Thank you, Dan. I was waiting on it. Nobody. That's like, okay. So no one ever says all. That's like black. That's literally how white folks reacted to like Black Lives Matter, because they put words in there that wasn't there, that are only Black Lives Matter. That's how we got All Lives Matter. That's how we got all this other shit that bastardized the term, because white people's fragility was so fucking fragile that the only thing that they saw in there was a word that nobody ever put,
black,
which is only Black Lives Matter. Niggas do the same shit when they with that shit. Nobody ever says all. You know,
no one.
Maybe in certain extreme cases, because I mean I have seen it, but even then, like, I don't jump in that bullet. I just scroll and just keep the fuck going. But in general, no one ever says all. You put that word in there so you could be offended, because your fragility is something in you. It's something in you where you insert yourself in something that literally no one was. If it's not you, nobody was even talking to you. You know what I mean? Like, when I look at, like I said, when I look at how men treat women as a whole, and historically and present day, and you think I'm seeing that, seeing every single day some story about some man beating a woman, some man assaulting a woman, or fucking government literally being anti-woman, you know what I mean? And this country since inception has been run by men, and in some way, shape, form, or fashion, this country has always been bitches ain't shit. And I'm looking at that, and you mean to tell me if I'm not in this category of trash men, I'm looking at that. You think I'm finna jump in for the bullet? And when someone says how trash men are or have been, hell fucking no. Because fuck these niggas if we keep it in a buck. Fuck these niggas. Like, I'm at that point where it's like I said, it's draining to see. It's something that needs to keep being talked about and keep being addressed, but it's also exhausting to see black women explain their humanity. So I'm at the point where it's just like, stab these niggas. You know, like XD said, stab him, stab them, remind them, stab them. But yeah, it's just men, fucking men.
Fucking men. I love them and hate them all at the same time.
Niggas ain't shit. I say it. Fuck it.
Well.
I'm sad. I mean it.
It's hilarious that Dan said that phrase, because speaking of people saying niggas ain't shit. So originally this wasn't in the runner, but I saw this and I felt compelled to bring it up and add it to the show. So Barack Obama, you know, he has been, you know, since he's been out of office, he's been going around, you know, giving speeches. He's back in the works of politics, you know, which he said he would be. He's trying to focus on the youth, and trying to groom young Democratic politicians and so on and so forth. And I'm not gonna get into whether or not you feel a way about him getting money or whatever. If you feel a way, you feel a way. If you don't, you don't. I mean, that ain't why I'm bringing him up and talking about this. But recently he had things to say about voting and politics. He was giving a speech, and he said that damn, Google, what the stop it. Thank you. He said that he said that you get the politicians you deserve. He said people tend to have a tendency to blame politicians when things don't work. But as I always tell people, you get the politicians you deserve. And if you don't vote, and if you don't participate, and if you don't pay attention, then you'll get the policies that don't reflect your interests. Whew, boy.
That was like by far one of the wildest hot takes of 2017. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that.
So here's the thing: he's supposed to believe that, right? Because he was the result of a political machine that was driven by, you know, a cornucopia of people who agreed on some level with what he said and got him into office twice. So he's supposed to believe that. Like, I'm not going to beat him up for that.
I'm not going to beat him up, but I am going to say it's kind of tone deaf.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
It is tone deaf, and also it's a symptom. Like, that's not a problem with. That's a symptom of Barack Obama, former president of the United States of America.
Right. This isn't a.
You can sub in anybody. You can sub in anybody. Like, this is something I was talking about with a friend on Facebook the other day. The last two Democratic candidates who won the presidency were like upstart, either governors or junior senators, when they've tried to run people out of the old political machine, it falls flat because people don't fucking care about the old political machine. So the flip side of this coin is like the notion that he wants like the people to have involvement in like identifying these rising stars in the Democratic Party. He's right about that. Like he's right as rain about that because that's how he got the presidency. That's how Bill Clinton got the presidency. And ultimately, I'll even argue that's what lost Kerry and that's what lost Gore and that's what lost Hillary the election. The fact that they were out of this old guard. Where I take issue with it is, again, this notion that it's that damn simple. Like,
Right.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
We don't have it's that simple because when Clinton got reelected in '96, Republicans mounted up like regulators and shit and decided, you know what? Come hell or high water, we showing in the 40s in the presidential election. Come hell or high water, it makes no difference. We are showing in a 40+% range. So it becomes a matter of, okay, well, how many people do they pull over to their side versus how many people who are inclined to vote Democrat or at least vote against Republican in the first damn place mount up and get with the team that can actually win this damn thing. Again, that's something he's not necessarily wrong about. Again, it's incredibly tone deaf. And it sounds like someone who's 8 years in politics took him through that same thing that Bill Clinton went through that whole, well, you know, I was once just the governor in Arkansas, now I'm president, to now that I've been the president, my views have changed substantially.
So this isn't like anti-Obama or anything. It's more speaking to a mentality that didn't start with Barack. It's something that and for the record, it ain't even anti-Democrat. It's every party does this. It is a pattern of blaming, because let's keep this above. Like Dan said, it's not a simple issue. Let's keep this above. When people talk about people not voting, almost 9 times out of goddamn 10, that shit is aimed at brown people. Mm-hmm. Because it's this assumption that black and brown people are lazy, that they are disinterested in politics, that they are, unintelligent, they are unaware, they don't pay attention to what's going on, they don't get politically involved, all they do is complain, yada, yada, yada. They don't participate in the system, yada, yada, yada. Now, the system has never been built for or built to aid us. There are people that, I'm not going to go revisionist history, there are people and there are politicians that have definitely tried to work around that and have definitely made some inroads and have definitely done things to help black and brown people. I'm not going to completely dismiss that and be intellectually lazy and say that hasn't happened, but still, in general, this system has not, still doesn't, and maybe probably never will work for us. And black people have always been tasked with this impossible fucking white man mission of being guilted into participating in this system when they use our answer. They guilt us in participating in this system because it is all right. And it is all right that we didn't have, which our ancestors died for, who, oh, by the way, this very same system killed our ancestors that died for us to use this right and this obligation to be in this process. Then when you guilt us into using this system in this process, you give us candidates that are in general either horribly bad or meh at best in general. So then you give us these horrible choices, and then when we're either apathetic or we just vote for like the lesser of two evils, quote unquote, or whatever, then when you get and like I said, this happens on either the right, the left, the middle, what the fuck ever. When you don't get the results you want, then you blame black people. You know, we're uneducated. We're lazy. You know, we didn't vote. Nigga, we don't vote. Mind you.
It's so annoying. We only make up 13% of the population, so it's like really we're not the ones carrying the vote.
50% of the jail population stay woke.
Then, mind you, there's a little thing called voter suppression. In this past election, was the first time that Black and brown people have voted without the protection of the Voters' Rights Act, because we had Barack in office for 8 years and they decided, oh, a nigga's in office, so racism is over. So they ended that shit. And even with that, our turnout only dropped, I think, 1% from when the time of Barack's regime. I think his first term and his second term, I think our turnout in the last election only dropped like 1%. That is a 1% drop in an era where we face voter suppression that we haven't experienced since Jim Crow.
Bruh, like Wisconsin
Now,
had 200,000 votes suppressed, and Trump won it by 22,000. So there's your.
This
That's
also
one state out of the 10 swing states.
This also happened. Like Hillary won the popular vote. She won the popular vote. You know, this also happened another time in when it was Gore and Bush. Gore won the popular vote. He still lost the election.
Dude,
you know, so there's
do you know how many popular votes the Republican Party has won since 1984?
How many?
One.
They have votes. One. Yet these motherfuckers still.
Well, that might be since 1988, but either way, like. In very recent history, they don't win the popular election very often.
And still, even they don't win the popular vote, and still, in general, like when you again historically, like Democrats are. It's like the Washington Generals versus the Harlem Globetrotters, and with the Democrats being the Generals and the Republicans being the Globetrotters, like. The Democrats, in essence, have won like 1/4. Meanwhile, we know that the Harlem Globetrotters always win the fucking game. That's essentially what it is. And it has to do with this being a systemic problem. You know, the Electoral College, that shit is a fucking mess. And it was kind of designed to keep, let's, just call a spade, bigoted people in power. That's how it was designed. It don't always work like that because we had Barack, Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter. It don't work all the time, but in general, it's designed to try to like keep bigots in office, more or less. So to say that, and this is why I've been passionate about this, and this is why I've been, even though I'm kind of scared back on it now, it's been disheartening. I've been adamant about it. This is why, especially with this past election, I've been so adamant about people not blaming Black people for doing what they wanted to do with their vote. Even if you Black and you voted for Trump, I mean, it's fuck you, but in the aggregate, you weren't going to win him that damn election. If you Black and you that much of a coon and you voted for Trump, like, even to a certain extent, you not necessarily to blame, because in the aggregate, like Lexi said, we're only 13% of the population. We don't have enough people. We don't have enough people to sway shit the way people want us and think that we can. That's why I've been, like I said, I've been so passionate about people not blaming Black people for this. You know what I mean? Like, the day after the election, I sat on TV. I can't remember what I was doing. I think it was I off or was I at work? It was something. But the day after the election, I sat on. I was watching First Take. God help me, I don't know why. And I didn't watch First Take. I saw a clip of First Take, and I saw Stephen A. Smith call Colin Kaepernick everything but a goddamn child of God and lambasted him and attacked his credibility because he didn't vote, and blamed him and other people, essentially Black people that didn't vote, for Trump. To me, that is anti-Black, because it is a very simple reactionary way to view it, when it's like Dan said, it's not simple at all. It's not simple at all. Like, you're reacting because you're hurt that Trump won. And look, I get it. I get it. Everybody's hurt that Trump won. Everybody. But to blame black people for him winning and blame black people for doing whatever they wanted with their vote. Like I don't think it's cool to talk shit about people that voted for black people that voted for Hillary. You know, not that they stand for Hillary or think Hillary's great. It was just they didn't want Trump to win. I don't think it's cool to make fun of people that voted for Hillary. Black people, you know, I'm talking about black people. I don't think, you know, it's not cool that shit. To me, it's not cool to talk shit about black people that didn't vote, because more than likely, if they black and they brown and they didn't vote, more than likely they probably couldn't vote. You know, like it's a strong possibility that they couldn't vote for various reasons, because again, voter suppression. I don't blame black people that voted third party. You know what I mean? Like it's a very simple, myopic, reactionary way to like avoid the reality of white people did this. You know what I mean? Like they've always done. And you know, I'm just tired of black people being expected to use this system that was never meant to fuck with us. Then when it doesn't work, then flip it and blame us regardless of what we do. That's Elu.
I agree. It's like damned if we do, damned if we don't.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like I find it funny how people are just like, well, you know, if black people would just get out and do this, and it's like, motherfucker, have you not seen like black people making strides, and it's still not enough. Like, we're not the majority here. Like, we can't change, like you said, a system that was never designed for us until you eradicate every single person and their offspring. The system will never change, and it will never work in our favor. Like, that's just how it is. Call a spade at the end of the day. And I want people to understand that, like, we can't, you know, be like, oh yeah, well, you know, I did. And like, no, that's not how it works. Like, you see stories about this every day, like some judge, and this is what we mean by systematic racism. You know, some judge was like, this nigger would be better off with like a rope and a noose. Like, excuse me, sir, you're supposed to be the one upholding the law, and yet here you are making these type of remarks. So it's just like, people are dumb. That's all I can say.
Yeah, man. Like, I try to, you know, like have empathy and, you know, see people. Like I say, it's a hurt reaction, but you know, it's also very disheartening. Like, dog, we just do not have the political power or capital to shake shit in this country. We could have, every black person in America could have voted and voted 100% for Hillary, and we still would have lost. Like, she still would have lost. It's not incumbent on black people to fix this system. We didn't make this shit. We really, like, if we keep it in the boat, we really ain't got to do nothing but stay black and die. That's really
it. Literally, that is it. Literally. And I don't understand like where all this pressure comes from for us to be like the model citizen when it comes to certain things. Like, it irks my soul, you know, like I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and I was like, you know, it irks my soul how racist, they just can't be creative with their racism. You know, it's like, you telling me to go back to Africa, it's like, okay, that's so played out. You know what I mean? Like, it just bothers me, because it's like, I feel like we as black people, we love this country so much because it's the only country that we know, yet it's the same country that continuously shits on us, like time after time after time. And it's just like, well, what else are we supposed to do? Like, I'm tired of, you know, people telling us, well, you need to turn the other cheek. The fuck for? Like, it's not working. I've turned both cheeks, face and butt, and still get no respect. Yeah. Like, I don't understand. Like, what you want me to do here? It's, oh gosh, it's so annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying, man. But just like that was, like I said, that was just very disappointing to hear Barack say, and it's just disappointing, like in general. Like I say, that kind of thinking didn't start with him, but it's just disheartening to hear it continued.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
like that's why, because like we know that where if you don't vote you can't complain, shit is aimed at black people because they cater to racist white people that do
All
vote
day. All
and try to
day.
make them feel like they ain't bad people. So it's just like I say, just you if you black, you ain't got to do shit but stay black and die and try
That's
to
it.
navigate this fucked up ass system, man. But on a lighter note, we gonna end this, but we not gonna end before we do bring it back. And we are bringing back, for those of you who don't know, bring it back is when we bring back a album that is at least 10 years or older and we discuss it with older trained ears. And this month we are doing Destiny Child Survivor album. This is, hold on. Y'all, excuse me. Technical difficulties over here. My computer decided it wants to fucking try to restart while I'm almost at the end of the goddamn podcast. This is some bullshit. No, I wouldn't. I will restart later. I'm working here. All right. Sorry about that. But yes, Destiny's Child Survivor album. It is their third studio album. It was released on May 1st, 2001. For the 99 of the 2000. It had 5 lead singles: Independent Women, Survivor, Bootylicious, their cover of Emotion, and Nasty Girl. And this was this was when was it Latavia? I think it was Latavia. It was one of them. This is when Latavia left and they replaced her permanently with Michelle. And
No, that was Farrah. I mean, no, they got rid of Farrah, right? Was it the Say My Name video shoot?
it was Latoya and Latavia.
Latavia, yeah, and they replaced them with Farrah and
Yeah,
Michelle.
okay, yeah, it was Farrah and Michelle. But then Farrah
Yeah.
is Farrah still with us?
Yes.
Look, you have to look. Niggas be dying, and that ain't never died before, and you have to be knowing. You have
You
to
know
ask.
what?
But this is when Beyonce was basically the unequivocal lead vocalist, and Michelle was the Scotty to her Michael Jordan. So Lexi, this album, what do you remember about
it? Okay, so when did this album come out again?
2001.
2001. I remember when. Okay.
I remember when Bootylicious dropped.
I remember when Bootylicious dropped, right? And people are like, "Oh my God, Beyonce has invented a new word." But the old head in me at the time, thanks to my dad, RIP dad, remember listening to the Doggy Style album, again, thanks to my dad. And I was like, well, she's not the first one to say Bootylicious, because Snoop Dogg said that on, I believe The Chronic was like, I don't know if it was Dre Day or whatever song, because he was like, those rhymes that you were kicking were quite bootylicious. So I was like, you guys really need to pay homage to Snoop. But anyways, aside from that, this album, okay, so I remember Survivor, and I was like, I really did not like that song as the lead single. Like, I was like, I felt like they could have went with another one. But I did like I liked a few of the songs. I just remember like Survivor dominating like TRL.
Yeah, like they played the fuck out of Survivor.
For like, they really did. And I was like, okay. But I was super excited. Again, the old head in me, because I fucking love Fleetwood Mac, and you can fight me if you have a problem with that. But I was super excited to see like Stevie Nicks in the music video, even though I was like, I know half the people that are probably watching this have no idea who she is and that they sampled from Fleetwood Mac for this song, but it's fine. So
this is fine.
I'm trying to see what else do I remember from that album. 2001 was like a pretty dope year for music.
Yes.
Like, even though it's like Beyonce adjacent, I remember Jay-Z dropping The Blueprint and meeting him, and that was like life-changing. So
yeah, that's how we got that. Who knew that would lead to us getting Blue and the Twins when they dropped?
Yeah, like that was like, you know, a really good year for music. I have to say, like the early 2000s, like they really started out like with the thing, no pun intended, but yeah. I'm trying to think. I just felt like Michelle, like when they first introduced her, I was like, who is this girl and why is she here? Like,
I don't know her.
I like at all. Like, word to Mariah Carey, I just felt like she was such an awkward mix. Like, she just, I don't know. I mean, she worked out well in the end, but I was just like, this girl, she just looks so homely.
It's like when the company hires a new coworker, and that coworker comes in and like everybody gives them the stank face because they have rich and bitch face, but then eventually they opened up and it's like y'all gossiping and watching Maury on break or some shit. Like it's like that. But yeah, like I remember like when Bootylicious dropped, and like that was you know twerking before twerking, because you know when Bootylicious dropped, it was like everybody was trying to spread their eagle. I remember that, and like I remember like also like they played the fuck out of Survivor, but they also played the fuck out of like independent women too. You know what I mean? Like this,
yeah,
like,
but yeah, they did. They really did. Which I like the remix better than, I feel like I want this kind of to happen again. I feel like maybe I should add Diddy, but I want people to be like creative with the remixes again. So I feel like now a remix just include like someone, you know, jumping on the track. Like, no, I want you to bring the fire.
Like if we can give Diddy nothing else, we can give Diddy credit. That motherfucker can throw a remix together.
Yes, the fuck he can. Like
him and his unbothered ass bad bitch pose at the Met Gala. That shit was iconic. Theater. But speaking of a song that didn't age well, like because like this album like low key is like very like I want to say like very 2012's intro to feminism.
Yeah.
It's very it's very like, because this was also at that time too where it's like people were like getting the intro to feminism, like I'm an independent woman, I don't need no nigga and shit like this, you know, like on like the coattails of that era. Nasty Girl did not age well. It did not age well. It's still a bop, but ooh shit, it did not age well. Cause like, ooh shit, Nasty Girl is so much slut shaming in Nasty Girl. Like, it is literally like a pick me remix.
It is. It really is.
Like it is very like Nasty Girl is very much a men love hoes, not good wholesome girls like myself. Like Beyonce literally says that in the song.
I was like, ooh, girl.
Like, oh no, baby, what is you doing? Dan, are you still with us? Brother Daniel.
I don't think so.
Oh, I see what I don't think Brother Dan is still with us. All right, Lexi is I guess
Okay. All right. It's just me and you. All right.
yeah, but also
um,
this album had one of my favorite like covers, and that's like their version of Emotions. I love that shit.
yeah, that was a really good cover. And I usually
Yes.
don't like when people cover other people's songs because I'm just like, you don't have the range to do that. But they
Unless you
did
look
a
like his whole discography is covers.
okay. First of all, like Luther Vandross, like not to sidetrack too far, but like he was truly a national treasure.
Yes.
Just like the vocals, his songwriting skills,
The
his
curl.
producing skills, his curl not quite right, whether he was Big Luther or Little Luther, you know, it's just like all variations of Luther, I feel like always brought the heat. Like there isn't a Luther song that you can't put on now and be like, wow, I don't think I
Right.
like this. Like it.
I don't trust anybody that don't like Luther Vandross.
Yeah, like my best friend and I were literally having a conversation about this on Friday because we went to go see Ted Riley speak at Red Bull Academy or whatever, and he was just talking about, you know, working with Michael Jackson or whatever. And she was saying like how she was working with this girl who was like, well, you know, I think Michael Jackson's kind of overrated. And I'm like, bitch, what? Like, where? Like, Michael Jackson had enough talent to like last several lifetimes. What do you mean overrated? Like,
No,
the
like
nigga just stood in place and had people like passing out and like screaming, and he didn't even do anything yet.
Listen, Michael Joseph the Jackson had grown white men fainting.
Like, what do you mean overrated? Like, I feel like there's a of people that we did not deserve. Like, I feel like we did not deserve Michael Jackson as far as like talent goes. I feel like we didn't deserve Prince as far as talent goes. Like Whitney Houston, like
Whitney Houston, who 80% of her music is about dick.
literally about dick, and I understand why.
Look, 80%. Look, we're not gonna get into that. Lex been floating on a dick float for about the past 2 weeks. We're not gonna get into that. But the point being, Luther Vandross is on the list of people. You gonna cuss me out later on. I love you too. Is on the list of people that we did not deserve, and I feel like, but yeah, back to the point.
People to listen to like A House Is Not a Home and tell me you won't get all the feels. Like, tell me you won't. Like,
okay, anyway. But the point being, yes, Emotions. One of the better covers, one of my favorite covers that I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
And of course, like we said, this was the time for Beyonce to like become the Michael Jordan of the group. And of course, she met Jay-Z, then she went solo, and the rest is kind of history. But I feel like, I don't know, because a lot of people, because I asked this on Twitter, and a lot of people, because I asked them which was their favorite of the two, Survivor or Writers on the Wall, and a lot of people did not like this album. I thought, I thought it was, I don't know. I think
it was good.
I mean, that Emotions cover though, like,
yeah, like I feel like that was the only saving grace for this album. Obviously, like the lead singles or whatever, such as Survivor and Bootylicious, but I kind of felt like Wall was more cohesive than Survivor. Lost their step a little bit. Survivor album, but they totally redeemed themselves with Destiny Fulfilled. Like,
yeah.
album was like,
Agreed.
I'm like, the production was amazing. Like everything just flowed well together. They had found their groove again. I felt like with Survivor, because they had went through so many changes that they were still trying to find their footing. So it was kind of like it was a rush project, but it wasn't like well put together.
Right. Right.
So
I feel
don't
it.
know.
Like maybe if they would have took more time, like, because it's not like it's bad songs on the album. It's just kind of like maybe
not at all, but it's like
all over the place. Yeah.
For sure. But it's like, you know, yeah, it's just like I'm like independent woman. And then, you know, for them to go to like Nasty Girl, and it's just like, well damn, like
is it Uchiwale or One Mic? Yes or no?
Right, like make up your mind. Speaking of which, like Uchiwale is, in my opinion, even though none of them niggas was rapping on the beat.
We're not gonna discuss that. I'm not saying you wrong. I'm not saying you're right, but I'm not denying, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. But what I am saying is that is another topic for another day. Put that next time we have you on, we're gonna discuss that. But we gotta get out of here real quick. But just so Lexi, like we always do when we bring back these albums, what your top 3 favorite songs on the album? In no particular order.
Off of the Survivor album, I would have to say, let's see. So I'm definitely going to go with Independent Woman Part 2, Emotion, and
Okay. For me, I would have to agree and go with Independent Woman Part 2. I think that Part 2 is definitely better than Part 1. I will say though, that beat for Part 1, yes, love it.
Absolutely.
What
was that, Dark Child?
Yeah, listen, Dark Child is the hero that we do not deserve. All right. Okay, but yeah, Independent Part 2, Emotions, and also I'm gonna have to see, for me it's a tie between Dangerously in Love and Brown Eyes.
Brown Eyes was a good song. I know. I was like kind of
cause I'm gonna split the vote and go with I go with Brown Eyes. It's for me that's 1A and 1B, but I'll go with Brown Eyes. So for me it's Independent 2, Emotions, and Brown Eyes.
Okay.
Yeah. But definitely, you know, want to take a stroll down memory lane, you know, go back to a simpler time when Ja Rule was relevant. You know, check out Destiny's Child and Survivor. And, you know, even maybe go back to Writers on the Wall, you know, just a simpler time where we were kind of like, you know, we thought we were kind of smart and kind of woke, but we really weren't. You know, and you know, just relive some of this music. Some of it probably ain't gonna age well, because again, whoo, Nasty Girl, god damn, that did not age well.
No, not at all.
Jesus fucking Christ! I was listening to that shit. I was listening to that shit, squinting like Scrappy. Like, god damn! Like, who shit? This is hella slut shaming. Good.
Which is like, it's funny. Because it's like, you often wonder, and again, I was having this conversation with my friend the other night over dinner. It's like, you know, as entertainers, you know, when they would go, and I'm talking about entertainers from back in the day, you know, like when they would go in the studio, like a lot of times they were just doing this shit for fun. I felt like there wasn't as much pressure as there is today, because there's this whole like social media hype machine that, you know, if you're not getting this number of likes or doing this, they're not relevant. Because it's like if you listen to music from back in the day, like the original Got to Give It Up or Not Just So Knee Deep by Parliament. Like the original song is like fucking 17 minutes long. And it's just like, yo, at what point were you like, you know what? Maybe we should cut this off. Right. Maybe we should stop recording.
Right. Like, nigga, who reading all this shit?
Like, but then it's like you can put on those songs now and still have a good time and still bop. Like, I feel like most of the songs from back in the day have still aged relatively well, which brings me back to the music of today. Like, do you really think we'll still be listening to some of these songs?
It's not gonna age well. It is.
Like a year, 5 years from now, like, do you think, like, you know, when you start having kids, like, are you gonna put them on to the little Uzis and the little Yachties and
right? It is not gonna. It's not gonna age well. But yeah, you know, just but yeah, check out Destiny's Child, Survivor. You know, go bring back those old hits, and yeah. So we're gonna, you know, get out of here. We went over way longer than we thought we was, but I think it was good, and we had good conversation. I don't know if Dan is with us or not, but that nigga literally just like left. It's like, it's not like he on mute. It's just that nigga ain't said shit. What's going on? But Alexis, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
I
had a lot of fun as usual.
Got any shout outs, you know, let the people know where they can find you and, you know, powwow with you, you know, and
you can find me on Twitter at SexyLexie, SEXXIELEXXIE. Same as Instagram. I'm on Snapchat, which I love. I'm like a huge advocate for Snapchat, and my username on Snapchat is Capricorn Chanel. Just please refrain from sending me dick pics. Like, that's all that I ask. And yeah, that's about it. And shouts out to all my homies, my besties, Kiki Boom Boom, Carlito, my nigga Jess, yeah, and all my fake boyfriends. I'm kidding.
POP, hold it down.
POP holding Lexi down. No, I'm kidding.
You know what? They was joking at that, but I'm gonna tell you that after we record.
Don't do that.
I'm picking on y'all. Talk about you.
But no, seriously, like, you know, shouts out to all my friends who, you know, hold me down, support me. I feel like people should take time out of their day just to say thank you to, you know, family members, friends, anyone who supports you and believes in you more than you believe in yourself and is always in your corner. You should always thank them and just take a moment to remind them of how much you appreciate them.
And speaking of appreciation, like I said, you can find us at cspn.us, or you can find us wherever you find great podcasts using a podcast app. Just search Crown of College. Leave us reviews, give us 5 stars, share us, love us, rate us, you know, fuck with your boys. You know what I mean? And help us blow up your weight. And you click that on Keep Our Podcast free tab on our website so you can shop with our sponsors, and it's no extra cost to you. And it just gives Classic and Mel portions of the proceeds so they can pay for bandwidth and keep our show and all the other shows on the network free. So you won't have to pay to listen to me and Sarone sound like the tiny speck of liquor that's left in a bottle of Crown Royal.
Okay.
This has been Crown of College episode 120. I am Jeremy. He is Dan, and we were joined by Alexis. And be a greater hoe and not a hater hoe. And we out this bitch.
Bye.